So, good day, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, wherever you might be watching me from. Those of you in Africa, precisely those of you in Nigeria, you can be watching me from Europe. You can be watching me from Africa. You can be watching me from Asia. Wherever you're watching me from, this is MaaziEzeoke once more, and I say good evening to you all. Couple of days I did make a presentation to us regarding the way your brothers, my brothers and sisters who have found themselves in Asia, the way they've been treated in an unacceptable manner. The reason I am doing this broadcast today is for us to um, look more on what is happening. What is it that is happening? Okay. So the whole point here is that something has been happening in the last couple of days. Okay, what is it that is happening, and how can we? Um, what is it? We can. It appears there is virtually nothing we can do as individuals. Rather, we can do a lot as a collective. Okay, so that is it. I will be updating us on what has happened, the interventions that so many people have given. But in all this, we've heard the diplomats say one or two things, but we haven't seen anything from the presidency. That is the way it is. That is Nigeria for you, where things are done in a manner that sometimes is not palatable to most of us because we think we could actually do better than what we are currently doing. But be that as it may, once more, this is MaaziEzeoke coming to you live on this Easter day, and I will say, Happy Easter to every one of you. Wherever you might be, Happy Easter to you. Happy Easter if you're watching me from Nigeria. Happy Easter if you're watching me from um, anywhere, basically. And as usual, and as many of you know, has become the backbone of what I do here in this channel. I normally want to recognize those people who have taken time to tune in and to listen, because what we do here is to explore the truths behind the headlines and to look at facts and trying to make sense out of the whole senselessness happening within the entity and anything that affects the people within the enclave as it is today called Nigeria. The discussion today is not about what will happen to that entity, but what best can we do for ourselves in the midst of this hostility. You know, so far, I want to recognize, if you're watching me for the first time, if you don't mind, you can say hello, tell me where you're watching from, and if you could like the video so we can continue. I think today I have the first person here who is in the person of um, Emmanuel Abiodun Ogundipe. He says, I don't know what that means. Is that the way you say um, greetings in your place? But I welcome you wonderfully well to this channel. We are all brothers and we are all in this together. So, be that as it may, we must continue, and I must and I will tell us the things that has happened this Easter Sunday. The lockdown in Nigeria still continues. As some of you will know, it is something that is ongoing and indeed unbelievable, actually, because as it is now, it appears from every angle that this lockdown will be extended. Frank Okeke, happy Easter one and keep it up. Thank you very much. Sunshine 222. Hello Maazi, and I have that is Mado Abuchi from Philadelphia, USA. You're watching first time. He says he's watching me live for the first time. Thank you very much. I am the same person. I don't change if it's on a recorded video or if you're watching me live. I remain the same person. So for today, I want to take us, Stella Bassi is watching me from the United Kingdom. Wow, what is happening? Don't we have light in Nigeria? Or am I only the one using generator? Well, it appears everyone here is watching me from the diaspora. Chima said, Happy Easter, Maazi. And I say, Happy Easter to you, Chima. Happy Easter to Stella Bassi. Happy Easter to you once more. So the point remains that, a lot has happened within the last couple of days. We had in last 2 days, I had a conversation with us and I made a broadcast. Oh, Biafran League of Righteousness. Maazi, hello, greetings from me, Biafran League of Righteousness. Yes, we did speak on Good Friday, I think, and I have Chizaba Valentine watching me from Madrid. I hope I think good news is coming out of Madrid. I think Madrid's death toll is now taking a nosedive, is going down. We pray that it continues that way. And we honestly pray for our brothers and sisters in the diaspora, wherever you might be, that, we've lost a lot of people. So we basically praying that we don't get this. But coronavirus is not something that has to do with your faith or if you know God or you don't know God. It is like rain. Rain falls on those heathens, Christians, Muslims. It doesn't matter if you believe in God or not, atheist or not. The same way coronavirus can affect us all. However, we do pray and we still hope that neither myself and you will be among the victims. But if eventually, if it does happen, having taken all the precautions known to man and necessary that we should take, we can only say, let the will of the Almighty God, as my ancestors will say, let the will of the Most High, the one above the earth, the one that we call Chukwu Okike Obasi. Ọbasi nke bi n'eluigwe ọmama amasị amasị onye nke nọ n'eluigwe obodo ya na-akpụ n'ala, and let his will be done. As is tradition here, the libation that I will do for us this evening is that you will be saved and every one of us will be saved, that we will be part of those that will survive this coronavirus. As it is, over 1.7 million people are already infected with this, and that is an unbelievable thing. 1.7 million people worldwide, over. And the Prime Minister of the Great Britain has been discharged today. He is now, recouping. He's going to be, in the next couple of days, probably go back to work. And one thing is, Boris Johnson was treated in his own country. Whereas your people, those that basically steal you dry, in any small thing that happens to them, they will jet out of the country. But here you have a president, a prime minister equal to a president of a nation being treated by his own people. And I watched his address. It was really, really, really heartwarming to see a leader acknowledge those nurses, those we call the frontliners, who took care of him. He called them by names. Now, just oppose that to your leaders. Are your leaders, do they know your name? Can they call you by your name? Do they even care? Because at every single slightest headache they have, they jet out. In the last 5 years, your leaders have mapped over 5 billion naira for the Aserock clinic, yet they do not have common hand gloves, not even syringes for injections. Those are not my words, those are the words of the wife of the president, who says that this is what is happening in the Aserock clinic. And, you've elected people who are sick. When I say sick, these people are mentally sick. Sick. Like, Ahwadeha. But here we are. I've given us this background to get to the point of today, which is what the Chinese are doing to us. Okay, last time I said to us before I came online, I had over 186 emails, people seeking for help, how to be evacuated, trying to compile the names and, working with the authorities in China to see how these people will get help. The challenge, which I am finding out now, is that majority of these people, their documentations are no more legit or legal, because the visas, the Chinese visas which they came with, is expired. It brings me, and that's where my anger is, it brings me to the point of bad leadership. The reason why this is happening is because of bad leadership. If not for bad leadership, why would someone visit a country and doesn't want to go back? Because even those of us at home, he tells you, oh, I've been in China, I have 3 months visa, I want to come back after 3 months. You say, oh boy, better stay there because you are not coming anywhere here. What are you coming here to do? We don't have food. It is bad leadership, and we must continue to call them out. Nothing. It's either we fix it or we fix, which is, total Aburi Accord status, where we go back to the status quo of 1963. Or we can basically say to your tent, O Israel. And if we must perish at that point of saying to your tent, O Israel, and so be it. But I believe the size of the madness have been reduced if the various entities and various nations, because Nigeria is nations lumped together. Those are the entities, and I refer to that as what it is. Now, bringing it back home again, I'm not digressing, but I'm trying to make a comparison and trying to get to us. I find it very hard. Like one of the audios I played us, one of the recordings of people I spoke to last on Friday. One saying that is because people didn't want to be quarantined. That could be right. I mean, I'm not in China, but the things and the videos that I see from China, it gets to me. It hurts me as a human being that people, Chinese, cannot treat us. Imagine if this disease came from Africa, what would have happened? Imagine if this disease, coronavirus, came from Africa. Just imagine for 1 second what could have happened. The Chinese would no way want to see your face. But here we are, we have a disease that did not emanate from Africa, but from China. And according to CNN reports today, I read that from CNN, let me see if I can pull it up, saying that Chinese is actually blocking, Chinese is blocking a research being published, a research that looked into where the where where the coronavirus originated. And I'm saying, and I'm like, hey, as if we don't know. So let's not even, let's not even lie to ourselves. We all know where the thing came from. Yes. And he says, and I put it to us, he says, Chinese tightens grip over coronavirus research amidst US China row on virus origin. So suddenly, the Chinese are blocking research that want to expose where the coronavirus is coming from. I'm not easily given into conspiracy theories. I deal with facts. And because the source of this fact, which is CNN, is it's credible in some sense, you know, these days no one knows which one is credible in the words of Donald Trump, who calls everything but everything fake news. If this disease originated from Africa, you and I, especially those in the diaspora, will be hiding because the whole world would have isolated you. But here we are, a disease originated in China. The accusation is that Nigerians came in, and I believe those Nigerians that had the disease in Guangzhou, China, those were those probably they caught them in the aeroplane or they caught that disease in the Chinese airport. Maybe when they touched trolleys or whatever, it could be. And having said that, when after my broadcast last Friday, I had the cook at the Ima restaurant actually reached out to me, and I had a very exposing conversation with him last night. I called him. Sadly, I was engaged. I was supposed to do this broadcast actually around 12, 1 o'clock so that I can come accommodate him, but I wasn't able to do this broadcast before now. Now, and I have checked the time in China. The last time I checked, the time in China is 4:47. Now it's 4:47 in the morning. I've rang him because I wanted him to come on air to tell us what he has seen. This guy said he's been on quarantine. I'm not going to call his name. And he reached out to me because he said from the narration that the wife of the owner of the restaurant was the one who brought the disease. He said he he is the chef, that is the cook at that restaurant. He has been in contact with the woman, but he has been tested and he has no virus, but he's under quarantine. Actually, according to him, he was the one that went to the Chinese authority and said, this woman who is now in recovery, so to say, or is being treated with some, obviously, I think at some point probably she was in the ICU, but not confirmed. But the woman is in the hospital, and he went to the authority and said, please, I need to be tested as well, because the authority actually didn't know. That's what he told me last night. No, not even last night. Early this morning, around 1 o'clock this morning, because for some reasons I couldn't sleep. Until maybe around this morning, around 2 o'clock. So if I'm listening to these points people are making, saying I have not been treated well in Germany, and you think, what is your government doing? In all this madness, what is your government doing? What is the job of the government? What can the government do to protect the people they swore to protect, the people they swore to govern? What are they doing? And I saw a video which I will show us now, two videos that actually gladdened my heart, and I say, probably this is the way to go. This is the way to go. One is from the House of Rep, Femi Bajabiamila, who invited the Chinese ambassador and confronted the Chinese ambassador with facts. Some of these informations we have bombarded them. He said, this day and age, if somebody likes you or it doesn't like you, one thing is, as long as you have their WhatsApp number, you know, I always want to be subtle. Push these narrations. When you get something like that, push it to them. You know, last week, there was this woman who I think was in Lagos who sat down and made a video and was saying NEPA or PSN, what is it? Why can't we get light? The government has told us to stay at home, yet we do not have any light. And that after that video went viral, the same Bajabiamila invited the people, the discos and the Jenkos, and wanted to see how can they improve the generation of electricity in Nigeria within this period. What can they do? How can they assist? How can they help? So that means because people take the time to sometimes do not assume that they have seen these videos, forward it to them. And in WhatsApp, whenever they read it, unless that person has said, no one should know when a message is read, but you've done your bit. So when they invited the Chinese ambassador and this played out, I want to play the video for the benefit of those of you who have not read it, and I want to analyze there, and I want to say beforehand. Some of you will say that, Maazi, you like to criticize. I criticize and I offer solution. I don't just criticize for the criticism's sake. I offer solution. And my solution here was they questioned the Chinese ambassador, which is the right thing to do. You invite him, you query him because he is the eye of Chinese in Nigeria. That's why you are elected. I would have gone far that if I were the president, listen, I would have, tasked the foreign affairs minister not only to intervene the way he did on Friday, but even to call China and say, if this doesn't stop, we will take this X action. And I want to bring the federal government on notice. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, but most times when I say these things based on verifiable facts, they do come to pass. Remember when South Africa was doing what they did to Nigerians? It got to a point when the people who have brothers and sisters in those places think, hey, my government is not doing anything. The people are very likely to take the laws into their hands. We do not pray it comes to that. The government must not only be seen to be doing something. The government must not only be doing something. The government must also show the public and carry the public along on the things that they are doing. Else, if the people feel helpless, they will take laws into their hands. It has happened with the South African case, now this one, China. We know the Chinese, we know where they live, we know their factories. So let the government intervene in order for this not to get out of hand. Now look at this conversation with Femi Bajabiamila, who is the Speaker, House of Assembly. And, in watching that video, I said to myself, something is wrong with us as a people. You have a meeting room. And in that meeting room, you allow the Chinese... Anyway, before I get into that, let me let you watch this clip. Let me let you watch this clip. That would help explain what I'm saying. Watch this clip.
How you treat our ambassador is very important. Very, very important. And I'm glad you did that. But how you treat our citizens is more important.
I know. Yes.
Than even how you treat the ambassador.
Yes.
So, I just want to take you through, and I'm sure my colleagues will have some comments as well. You said you haven't seen any of the videos that are out there. I'm at liberty to show them to you. Everybody has them on their phone if you want, if that will convince you, because you said you haven't had an official complaint.
You must communicate to us as accredited consulates to you. Then if you communicate to us, we are going to be able to sit with you and then see the modality, how we are going to discuss it with our national.
You know what our government, including those of us here, the resistance we put up just to allow your medical personnel to come in a couple of days ago. Nigerians were worried for good reason, because we have this virus out there. And we're almost undiplomatic the way I'm talking, but it's because I am actually upset about what's going on. So I mean, I'm not sure how you address this. Have you spoken to your Nigerian counterpart in China? Have you spoken to the Nigerian ambassador in China?
No.
You haven't?
No. On this issue.
I'm talking about this issue. Have you spoken to any official Chinese of the Chinese government in China?
Definitely. Is the foreign minister. We take the very
but you have not.
No, we have done it. But
you spoke to the Chinese government.
Oh, we're still waiting for because we are here. We don't get the picture, the whole picture. So, but we have to report the concern from the speaker and the minister. Take it very seriously.
Yeah, whatever you have, please by Monday, because I'm aware that it's a weekend. But by Monday, so we have a couple of days.
Or Tuesday.
Please, or Tuesday, because Monday is a public holiday. Well, today is a public holiday, so we're working over public. If you have information by Monday.
So what I'm saying, you've seen that. So one is that video. This is a room. People with budget billions to equip to make their office conducive. He's showing a video, and he just showed that video in his small telephone. First criticism from me is, this is something they should have done. You know, every telephone, if you have Wi-Fi, which I believe they do, the freaking smart telephone on Wi-Fi, and you can cast it, sit there, pause it. As I say, if I'm the speaker, listen, I'll just show them pepper, because I'll cast it, I'll explain to him frame by frame. Have you seen this? No. I'll just cast it, boom, look at it. This is China, your police, following my people, like, are they slaves? Boom, second video, look at my consulate in Guangzhou. Look at how the Chinese manhandled him. Boom, look at this. Look at, I'm providing solution. You go, listen, Femi Bajapia, if you get to watch my video, if you are going to meet him again on Monday or Tuesday, be prepared. Various videos, ones, so many videos as that also have come out that we now know things are happening. So it's no longer like nothing. The world is changed. The world is changed. Okay? So the world is changed. It is no longer going to be business as usual. If you fail to do anything, the citizens of Nigeria must force you to do something, because these are their brothers, these are their, my email inbox has been jam-packed. I have students, there are videos, I watch them, I ask myself, how on earth could this happen? And sent me a video where she's been thrown out on the street. Her landlord thrown her out within hours. How on earth throw people out in hours? In hours, quick notice in hours. Yet she said she had a contract to stay in that apartment till September. I mean, these things. Anyway, so back home, even within the African continent, woman Sally, who was the African ambassador to the AU ambassador to was it the United Nations, and she made a video, and that video actually is what our reps. For those of you who haven't watched her, watch her before I continue. Okay.
To my fellow African diaspora, a very good day to all. My name is Ambassador Chihombori Kwao. Over the past couple of days, I've received many messages, emails, phone calls, and video clippings of the abuse that is being meted by fellow African diaspora living in China. I've watched in horror Africans roaming the streets of China with their possessions after being evicted out of their homes simply because they're Africans. I've watched in horror Africans roaming the streets with their suitcases and at times nothing at all, roaming the streets after being thrown out of their hotel rooms simply because they're Africans. I have watched in horror women carrying babies roaming the streets of China with nowhere to go, being thrown out of their homes because they're Africans. I've heard many stories of Africans who are married to Chinese being separated from their husbands or wives because they were Africans. I've heard stories about Africans being forced to take COVID-19 tests simply because they're Africans. In many cases, individuals did not meet criteria for testing, or they had been quarantined for the specified time period as mandated by the anti-pandemic law of China. Not once have I heard any complaints of any African disobeying the anti-pandemic laws of China. Why is it then that Africans are being singled out and mistreated? This situation is not acceptable. It is wrong, and it will not be tolerated. President Xi, I say, while you have enjoyed good relationships with all the African leaders, precisely because of that you should do the right thing. You are sitting in the big boy's chair, and we are asking you to make the big boy decisions. We're counting on you to make sure that the Africans that are roaming the streets and have been evicted from their homes be allowed to go back home. We're also asking you to make sure the Africans who are roaming because they have been thrown out of their hotel rooms be allowed to go back to their hotel rooms. As we speak, President Xi, may I remind you that we have over 10 million Chinese residing in Africa where we have welcomed them with open arms. We have allowed the Chinese to establish themselves to marry Africans and live happily ever after in our Africa. Why can't Africa be awarded the same that we have given to millions of your citizens? What is being done to Africans in China is deplorable, and the world cannot stand by and allow it to continue. Understand that the majority of the Chinese are good people, they're good citizens in China as well as in Africa. However, sadly, among them, there are a few bad apples. A few bad apples that have chosen to give China a bad name. A few bad apples that make China look bad in the eyes of the Africans. This is a situation that cannot be allowed to continue. President Xi, you are a good man. And we would like the relationship between China and the African governments to continue unabated. But the behavior that's coming from a few of your citizens will not be tolerated. And we're counting on you to do what is right, to do what is just, and to do what is fair. The Africans are no longer going to tolerate this abuse. From the Chinese or anybody else for that matter. The African Union is enraged. We're asking, when is enough going to be enough? President Xi, the power is in your hands. We value, as Africans, our relationship with China. Please do not allow a few bad apples within your citizens.
So you see, some of you who are ethnic jingoists would begin to clap or will begin to say, we like applauding others. See, what we want is competence. Competence. Look at that woman. Look at the way she spoke. She's not even a Nigerian. The majority of people suffering this are Nigerians. And have you seen any of your Nigerian leaders angry as she was in that video? There are times in leadership that you really need to show that you are angry. There are times in leadership that silence cannot be golden. And one of those times is now. Be it individual, be it as someone like me who creates content in Facebook at his own spare time. If I'm angry, I must voice it out. I must go with history. I must, state at some point in history that when this happened, this is my position today. I condemn what is happening in China, and I condemn it with everything in me, because that is evil. There is no way, irrespective of what the narrative be, that someone or some people did not submit themselves to the screen, then you now have to push to the street. No. I understand, as it were, that one of the people did not submit himself. One that tested positive, and he was scared because, as everyone, many of you must have heard audio saying that China have developed vaccines, going to come and test it in Africa. These are fake news. But my thing will be, could that be one of the reasons why he ignorantly didn't want to be tested, that they're going to kill him? And there is no way China is not going to start diplomatic row if they send someone with COVID-19 back to Nigeria. That person cannot be deported. You first of all have to treat. It's just like when the Italian man brought COVID-19 to Nigeria, you send that person back to Italy. No, it doesn't happen. You are breaching diplomatic relations. It's absurd. And it's time. I wish that this COVID-19, happening in China is a wake-up call for all of us. As she said, I don't have the figure, but she said, because she's in the know, I believe the figure she said, that we have over 10 million Chinese. Imagine if push come to shove. If we tell the Chinese in our part of the world to your tent, or Israel, to your countries, who is going to lose? Listen, at some point, we must begin to actually think of how to close our borders and develop back home and start the importation of every inferior thing coming from China. Between 1967 and 1970, when the world shot it back on the Biafra nation, they developed within themselves things that moved the world. They built armored tanks out of nothing. They built refineries that this government cannot build in 5 years. They built them within months. They refined the petrol, the diesel, the kerosene that they used. When the whole world was against them, Russia, Europe, everyone was combined forces against the Biafrans. What did they do? They surprised the world. They built rocket launchers. They built ammunitions. They built Obunigwe in order to defend themselves or die. That is a point that Africa needs to get to. This moment that they will say, it's either we come together and develop the motherland, or we all perish. The next colonialism is coming. It's not going to be from the Europe, neither is it going to be from the Americans. It will be from the Chinese. They are buying every Bible. All the sites. Go to Zamfara today. Chinese have bought all the sites in Zamfara. Come to Ebonyi State, my people. The Chinese are buying them. But in Ebonyi, they are buying them through proxy, because I know what I'm talking about. At some point, you and I must get angry, because this nonsense must at some point. We can cry foul today. Tomorrow, what happens? Must the same madness continue? We have our leaders who are incapable to build nothing, no hospital. No. They sent their kids. If we must survive as a people, it is time we begin to think as a people that are willing and ready to survive as a people. We must begin to, for instance, insist that if you must take position of authority in Nigeria, you must sign on undertaking that your children will not study abroad, that you will not go abroad on a medical trip. These are values that the only way we can build here is if we have the confidence. Look at Boris Johnson, as I said before at the beginning. Boris Johnson got coronavirus. He was treated by the NHS. And today, when I watched him speak, I nearly shed tears. Because the people that treated him, this is from New Zealand, the other one from the Philippines. I mean, it's, people are being valued. You don't hear about people being, thrown on the street. Now I have this caller here. He just tried calling me. The guy, the one I talked to you guys about, the cook who was in that restaurant. He just called me. Let me see if I can bring him in. If I'm able to bring him in, you from him. I'm visibly angry because of the way our leaders, not only our leaders, because you and I must stop. Yes, we make money bringing goods from China, but it's time we stop this rubbish. Yeah, hello. Good morning to you. This is MaaziEzeoke. I am live now. I am now live on air. I called you before to hear the side of your story, as I said yesterday. Now, don't mind, I'm bringing you live now on. Right? Is that okay with you? Okay. So,
Okay, but
go ahead.
my number and my name, I don't want.
No. Your number is not showing, and I'm not your life. I'm not going to say your name. I'm not going to say your number. The only thing is that I am, like I said, I am visibly angry from the way things are happening and the way the government is treating the whole thing. So, now if I start with you, let me start. Would you tell us? You said you worked at that restaurant. Is that correct?
Yeah, I want that person.
Okay. So, and within the time you worked there, did you have any contact with the lady that said that had the coronavirus?
I have contact with you later.
Oh, okay.
Because we start business on 14.
Okay.
So I have contact with the one from then till March. Like close until March. Let's say March 28.
Okay. March 28th. So when did the authority discover the coronavirus? How do you think they discovered?
The woman called me on April 1st.
Mm.
Around 4 p.m. later, I said that one Nigeria come there eat. After eat, he go outside, then test him that he has a virus.
Mm.
So for that, he then said the food they cook that morning finish. Let them no cook another one. And if they say finish, let them no go house. You are Chinese that place. 3 of them should wait for them for that shop that they will come and take them where they will go 14 days for a time.
Okay.
So that April 1st, after you finish 90, those people can carry them and go.
But did she test positive immediately when they took her?
After 2 days.
Okay, after 2 days. So meaning it's very unlikely that she was the one that actually brought the thing. It could be if the one who tested positive the same date, that could be the one who brought it. And was she counting money? How do you think she came in contact? Was she the one counting money at the restaurant?
She won't collect money from the people eating.
Okay, so she's one. So she must have contacted it through the
And through money, I don't know. I don't know two of them who bring the virus.
Okay.
I don't know the Chinese or the Nigeria guy. I don't know the person. According to the China, but according to China, they say it's Nigeria. You know, they like to cover. They like to cover up and bring. But I don't know the truth who bring the virus.
So as it is now, you've been in quarantine now yourself. You said you told me last night you went yourself. So it's not like the government came to take you. You went yourself, to be tested, right?
The government called me. They start calling me everywhere. The two city close to City Guangzhou and the other Naha, Funcha. So I received many calls from them, police, government officials. So on Saturday, last Saturday, I used my hand there, go to hospital and have test. After test, they say it's negative, so my blood okay. So on Sunday, I still receiving a lot of calls.
Sunday is a week today.
Yeah, a week today.
Okay.
I received a lot of calls. Before I call one, I tell them I may already go test. They say if I go test, I need to stay 14 days. I tell them I don't have a house. Because if anyone call me, where you live, which hotel, where you live. So I tell them I don't have a house.
Okay.
Before they tell me, that one tell me, Ngwanzo tell me wait for where I am now. I send the one address I see there for that. Okay, the policeman said I should wait for that place. I wait around 30 minutes, the man come there. Next, he said, wait, next he called the ambulance. So ambulance come and carry me, take me where I am right now.
Okay. So, and they've taken you to the quarantine, and the quarantine, the government is paying for that accommodation, right?
Yeah, the government paying with the food, they pay and the food.
Okay. So how is, from, what time is it in China now? Where you are now? What time is it?
Nice, 5 something,
5:20.
that's 5 minutes. They said a minute to that place. I don't know the minute.
Okay.
But
So,
it's 5.
okay. So now, what has been your experience since you've been quarantined?
The experience only the food there. I don't have any bad experience now because we are now close to the door. Some Chinese are here.
Okay.
They drop food for me. If I open door, I see some Chinese open door carry their own food. So the food are the same thing. What I give Chinese, they give me.
Okay. So how come some of our brothers ended in the streets, as we have seen videos that have gone viral?
No, me already be in quarantine before that one happened.
You're already in quarantine.
As people now see the video, as I see the video, the same thing.
Okay.
But the problem now, I understand that they already, I would say their news, they already put those things in news. Because before, around the Friday or Thursday last 2 weeks ago, I enter, if we go inside market to buy something, Chinese will say, go. That is it. They start fearing
Black people.
Fearing black people.
So it's not Nigerian.
There one video I sent for you before. That video, before Chinese said they say about the 300 Africa and virus in Guangzhou, in China, Guangdong here.
Okay.
So the news already go, what they like to cover up, and they like their people to hate black people. That's why they put that news, so that many of their people will hate black people. So that is the problem. So,
in as much as you've been quarantined now, how many days are you now in quarantine?
I go here Sunday night. Maybe they'll start Monday counting night. They'll start Monday, maybe 7 days now.
Okay, so 7 days, and it's supposed to be 14 days quarantine.
Yeah.
And what is your fate after the quarantine?
After the quarantine, very difficult because after quarantine, no house. Because nobody can give you house now. And the place I stay, I cannot enter there right now.
Yeah. You were
After quarantine, I don't know whether I will call because I have even immigration and everything. So I feel called and said I want to go now. Okay. Because nowhere I can stay.
So this issue of coronavirus and the aftermath and your being quarantined, for you, it's so bad now that after this, it's likely that you're going to be made to go back home.
And that is next thing now. So if you don't go where you stay for street again.
But
unless I have where to stay. I don't have, I will go.
Okay. So do you have the contact of the Nigerian ambassador or the consulate?
I don't have the contact.
Okay. So what I would do for you is I would be sending you the contact of the consulate, and because they sent me the requirements, what they want people, if you want to come back, what people should do. Okay. So I think evacuation is being arranged, but again, in the Nigerian context, because the way the situation is, I don't believe you can just buy a plane ticket, even if the fund is there. I don't believe anyone can, because there is no flight. The airspace in Nigeria is shut down. But if the government of a nation, like the airspace is shut down, but we had airpeace coming to bring in materials, that means for some of you, and that's why I made my tweet, for some of you willing to, we would now start. The next part of the thing we'll have to do is to, hold the Nigerian or the Nigerian High Commission and the Nigerian government to account, and they must commit to evacuating every Nigerian in China who is willing and ready to come back, no matter how. I mean, by first week of April, it never probably crossed your mind that you'll be talking of going home, isn't it? But here we are. These are the aftermath, the sad. And when I say this, because it breaks my heart. These are the sad aftermath of this COVID-19, and these are things that happen where people are not, like you now. You're not. You're not prepared. Suddenly, you're talking of going to Nigeria. Isn't it sad?
I'm not prepared.
Anyway, it's honestly, I don't know. There must be. I understand that when I saw some of the conditions, I do understand that some of us can, say that these conditions are ridiculous. These conditions are unattainable. But I think what we might have to do is to put more pressure on the government to review the conditions. But the first thing first is the moment you come out on your private, the number you're calling me with now, I will WhatsApp you the details of the Nigerian ambassador to China. That is the highest level. So you get in touch with him via his WhatsApp number, which I will forward to you, and you take it from there. Let them give you the conditions. Let them now tell you what next. But the only thing I will ask you is, anytime you hit brick wall, the reason why I spend time and do what I do is, anytime you hit brick wall, we are not there with you people in China, but we are with you in spirit. So we must find a way to fight this together. That we must make the right noise. that you people outside Nigeria, because of their incompetence to fix the system, that's why many of us are not within the shores of Nigeria. Not that we love it where we are, but because we are not getting what we ought to get within the system. So far, now, from your point of view, you've looked at, you've obviously you've been speaking to people. I've seen clips. I've seen like posters where they say "Do not sell to black people." Have you seen something like that? What's your take?
I see. It's true. Something will happen. They don't give you house. Ordinary market, I go there to buy a lemon. Everybody is good. And if you're walking on the street, Chinese coming. Some of them, when they come, if two of you are coming the same side, the Chinese will cross the other side.
So, but do you before now, were you experiencing something like this before?
I would say since this government take office, that's before the other government, the other president, things okay. Yeah, so you have many Chinese friends that time. But so since this one take office,
when did this one take office?
I think it's last year of Jonathan, maybe now 5 years or more.
Okay, so and how long have you been in China?
I would say 6 years now.
Okay, 6 years. And the condition in China doesn't allow you to visit home, right?
No paper now. Unless we visit. If you visit to go, you cannot go back until 5 years.
Until 5 years. Anyway, I can, the only thing I can tell you, the condition is getting precarious. Is it shall be well. Don't lose hope. Just know that there are still citizens who are with you people in spirit, and we must do everything within our powers. There are nothing, there is virtually nothing individuals can do, but to put pressure on the government to do the needful. That is the essence of government. That is why they occupy the office they occupy. That is why they are elected. We give them our vote to speak and to act on our behalf. So we must.
And since this thing happened, only this ambassador are the first person that have come out.
Yes.
Like the man do very good. Since the other ambassador, no one have ever come to even Igbo to come out like this and speak.
Yes, I think
that's why you see that government now back us.
Yes, I think
like I watch on television. That woman does already. She's not even talking of Nigeria will investigate. She already judge and conclude that we are at fault.
Yes, I know that you're talking about Abike Dabere.
Yeah.
And she said you people were to blame and blah blah blah.
As if Chinese they will talk, they will investigate the matter. But
well,
did not. She's not talk of investigate.
Okay.
Already judge and say we are at fault.
Are you aware that the Speaker of the House, is already in contact?
I see the video. Yeah.
Okay, and are you aware that equally the Foreign Affairs Minister is now involved?
Okay, I don't know.
So that is Onyama from Eke in Enugu. So,
okay.
So, and again, what we can, it's really a very sad and unwilling situations that people should find themselves in, because your fear now is that after the quarantine you don't know what next.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, like I said, I would encourage you, keep hope alive. It shall be well. Just ensure just ensure that you are not alone. We have so many Nigerians who are not happy with the way you people have been treated, and they are with you people in spirit. And if need be, just that people with is quarantine. If need be, people would have gone to street to protest on your behalf. But in the time of quarantine, we would endeavor to see other means and ways we would put in to make sure that you people are not forgotten. Okay?
Okay.
So, thank you and stay blessed. So, we'll keep talking after this live broadcast. I will send you the details of the ambassador. And please keep me posted if you reach out to him and be truthful, tell him what the situation is. Okay? So that we see where we can all come in at any point. Thank you very much for your time, my brother.
Okay, thank you.
Have a wonderful, I think it's good morning now. It's around getting to 5 or 6 o'clock your time. Then I'll say, good morning in Guangzhou, right?
Yeah.
Good morning in Guangzhou.
Okay, thank you.
Remember blessed. Yeah. So people, you've had it from the horse's mouth. You see, I don't know. I don't know. It's here we are talking about fellow citizens who are trapped somewhere. What some of you watching me are doing is to give the video a thumbs down. Your fellow citizens, where is your empathy? For Christ's sake, if you cannot empathize, where is your humanity? You know, sometimes I say to you, I have over 200 emails of human beings contacting me because they do not know what they can do next. You're here still hating. Doesn't matter where these individuals come from. They are fellow blacks, for Christ's sake. What is wrong with us? We criticize our leaders every single day, yet we act worse than they do. I'm not bothered about the thumbs down, but I'm listening to this guy speaking and I hear people thumbing down. I'm like, in what world are you living? Your fellow citizen is in quarantine in another man's land and he calls on this live program and you want to give him a thumbs down for what? What level of wickedness? You are among those probably that can actually kill or poison someone. If you cannot hear the empathy, if you cannot empathize with him, you cannot empathize with him. I don't care. I haven't asked him for 1 minute which state he's from. I don't want to know. But one thing I know is he's my brother. That's what matters. And in this, we must stand in unity to see how we can help them. Where is your human empathy? Where is your human empathy? I'm here thinking, I got involved I know none of these people. But is that what is happening to them is not acceptable. How can they be living on the streets? Go on. Unbelievable. We criticize the leaders. They do not do the things they ought to do. You and I are here also even willing to do worse than what the leaders we criticize are doing. To those of you who've done this, I am really ashamed. I never believed that in one time. I don't care the reason. I know some of you will say, oh, we are not Nigerians, we are this, we want. Listen, I don't care the reason why you've done it. There are at times you put your differences together. Does the Nigerian nation work? Of course, no. Does our politicians do the things you and I have stood in sun and the rain to elect them to do? Of course, no. But this is a time where your brothers and sisters are sleeping on the street because the skin, the color of their skin. You might be watching me being comfortable today, but do you know what tomorrow holds? Do you know? Do you even know if you'll be alive tomorrow? Do you even know if you're going to have cause to leave the shores of Nigeria because you're comfortable, or you're comfortable somewhere in Europe or in America, thinking that is it? 1 month from today, almost every week, I fly from one continent to the other, working. 1 month ago, if somebody told me, listen, end of second week of March, I was to be in New York. Third week of March, I was to be in Tampa. Fourth week of March, I was meant to be in San Francisco. First week of April, I was. So these my itineraries, every week I'm in different sites. If somebody told me 2 months ago that me, Maazi, would be quarantined in one place, I wouldn't. But that's nature. That is what we find ourselves now. And we can only survive this if we bond together. By fighting for your brothers and sisters who are in China, who are being mistreated in China, you're fighting for yourself. You're fighting for your children. You're fighting for the future that you don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow. Because you're running your diesel generator, making noise everywhere like it is now, to power the light you see, generator running soundproof, you think you're comfortable. No, you are not. You are you are a prisoner to the same system that we are talking about. And it hurts me. At some point, let's show empathy. Let's show empathy. Look at the Nigerian state today. Do you know what is going to happen to you tomorrow? We have people moving with siren, they get killed. Anyway, I almost like cried anyway because that's it. I'll calm down, but I didn't find it funny that my fellow citizen, who have tried reaching out before, called, speaking, and someone had the infantry to thump him down. Thump him down. Your argument might be you didn't send him to China, therefore you don't care. Don't worry. Karma, they say. Complete the rest. So once more, I must continue. This is MaaziEzeoke here. You've heard him, what he said. Obviously, the Chinese somehow have disseminated information to their people to avoid blacks, to avoid your skin color. Like what's it called? Peter Touch once said, as long as you're a black man, you're an African. You might be watching me. It doesn't matter where you are. You might be in the US. You might be half caste. You might have been born in America, born in London. I don't freaking care who you are, but as long as you have anything genetically to do with the motherland, you must be concerned. In Nazi Germany, that's how it started. They came for the Jews. Everyone kept quiet. Oh, I'm not a Jew. Why should I be concerned? These people are in China. You might be in Germany, Europe, anywhere, even in Nigeria, because they're not coming for you. You think it doesn't matter. When they came for the professors, there were no Jews. They came for the professors. There were nobody there. The professors were taken away. So you think you're not a professor, you're a Protestant. So that's only a Protestant. And it got to a point when there was nobody to take, they came for you. There was nobody there to fight. Then imagine for 1 second, if the German society stood together when the Jews were taken, we would probably, the Jews wouldn't have been dealt with the same way the German society dealt with them. But here we are. If there is any time for the sake of humanity, that we must close rank, that we must be together. The time is now. Don't think you are safe, even within Nigeria. Don't think you are safe. People are getting hungry. The other time I said we can arrange to give, in order to um, allow more people to get it, to give 5 kilos of rice, which is eventually 2,000. What when I spoke to Costaris, that what Costaris did. The whole point was to do that before the Christmas, before the Easter. But here, to tell you that is only one person, one, promised 10 bag of rice of 5 kgs. One person amongst everybody we were shouting before. One person, one. Why am I saying this? Do not for 1 second, because you might be in the comfort of your home in America, you're not safe. You might be safe. Your brothers, because in Igbo we say, Ometu isi, Ometu aguba. When it affects the head, it affects the scissors. Because if you have soreness all over your head, the scissors cannot penetrate. Therefore, if there is anything you can do to help, be it the poor, be it your next door neighbor, because the food you've given to your next door neighbor could be what will make your next door neighbor not to harm your child. A hungry neighbor is a danger to your safety. To drive my point home, as if I knew this will happen, I watched this video today in Nigeria that people are now attacking food vehicles, vehicles delivering foods. Private, normal, the way you see them, people carry okra. Look, you think I'm joking? Look, watch it here. Vehicles delivering food. They now attack them. This is it. This is it. Look,
It's gotten so bad now. This man was just driving with foodstuffs on the road, and he got attacked. You can see that. He was going to make a supplies. He got attacked. On a broad daylight, they blocked him. They blocked him. They took away the yams in the car. On a broad daylight. This is how bad it's going to become very soon. It's a message for everybody to understand. He got robbed. Look at him. They bust the glass. They removed food from the car. They removed the yams and everything from the car. You can see that. You understand?
so you see, for 1 second, do not think that because you're in the comfort of your home. Look at that driver in Nigeria. He's been doing this every time, taking this food. It's not about Boko Haram or armed robbers stopping you. Hey, where your money? No one is interested in your money, because if they take this money, what are they going to do with it? There is no shop for them to buy. No one is Have you ever heard of Amotekun again? Have you ever had the Operation Obunikwe again? Have you ever had a Fulani headsman blocking Lagos Ibadan or Kaduna Abuja Listen, in the midst of what is happening, the tragedy is that the world does not know. No one, as we speak, knows when this will stop. Part of the project I do, they'd say, okay, based on what plotting, everything shut down till May, some of the project till June. That means if Europeans are already projecting stopping everything till June is not for your project to resume. June is for them to review and know if it's going to be extended. Some, even the British are telling you students or children are out of school, that they are likely to come back in September. That should scare you. That should scare you, especially those of us in Nigeria. Especially those of us in Nigeria. Because you know what that means. That's hunger. There are people in Nigeria that if they don't go out every single day, they're not going to eat. And here they are. The first week is gone. Entering the second week. So whatever the president made address, everything is likely to be extended. And here we are hating one another. Forget whatever ethnic nonsense. When I say sorry, but it's ethnic nonsense. For once, let us think as a people, or we perish. For once, let us think as a people. Anyway, again, someone CJ said, this is a country where we were told that big boys donated billions to the federal government. What a shame where corrupt is the hobby of the politicians. I've said this before. Big boys who profit from the system donated. And why did they donate? These big boys, as you might call them, donated because, as someone, I don't know if it's Emi Sami or Seni said, they were paying tithes. So they were paying, but they were giving back to the source of their wealth. Some of you had issues that they didn't donate to state. Did they make their money from the state? I would expect them to go back to their communities and their state and do something. But hey, and I give an analogy. Onye for one ye miniskirt in the hot day and said, "Hey, why don't you close your legs?" Well, you know where they breed from. Uche M say, "Maazi, take easy, bros." Man, I agree with you. I have to because, but you know, in the midst of that broadcast, what's wrong with people giving thumbs down? So I don't care if it's to me. Obviously, I don't say things that it will be palatable to you. If you don't like what I'm saying, if you don't like what I'm doing, it's a free world. You can go away. You can, if you want to unsubscribe, that's fine with me. That's it's not a fight. But what I was really angry was someone who is in quarantine, who has volunteered to come on air to speak to us, for us to make sense. We've seen so many videos, we heard so many audios. These things are confusing. We don't even know which one is real anymore. And someone, his number is a Chinese number. I have Joe marked him, he's in Guangzhou. Yeah, I have Joe mapped him. And he comes on air and he's telling you, some of you, thank you. Some of you were actually saying, please tell him word of encouragement to encourage him, give him hope. Hope. That's why people go to church. It's not for any other thing because your government has failed. People probably go to church for hope. You're here giving him hope. Listen, I wish Ekene Udegwa. I wish there is a way to know the person who's done the thumbs down. Yes, I will block that person. Because in the midst that someone is hurting so much in and is afraid that in the next 14 days when he comes out of quarantine, he doesn't know what fate holds for him. And what you can do is to give him thumbs down. Give him thumbs down for what? Was he lying? Or that he's not in quarantine? On Friday, I made a video and there is this recurring decimal. Why and how the whole thing started. The African restaurant in Guangzhou. And here he comes online telling you, I am the cook. I had contact with this woman. I'm actually, when they called me, I gave myself in, I tested negative. And I said to him, fine, maybe because you are when I spoke to him last night, I said, maybe because you were in the kitchen, you didn't have time or you didn't have much contact with the madam. That's why you didn't test positive. And I pray for him that he remains negative. His life is in danger if he comes out next. From nowhere, he said the last time he went to the market was on the 1st of April. So 1st of April, today is 12. In the last 12 days, he went to the market. He can see that people were looking at him somehow, but he hasn't gotten to this point. Suddenly, within 12 days, everything changed. The China he knew in the last 6 years changed before him because the leaders, those we call leaders, have failed you and in my usual way, I would say, so let's deal with the thumbs down. It doesn't matter. For those of you who otherwise agree, can I see you flash the thumbs up? So I hope I'm back on. I'll take some of your comments. And I would equally, if you guys permit, probably bring back the telephone number and open the line if you so wish. You can call the telephone number if you want to make your contribution. If not, I will be calling it a day. You can stay tuned. If you want to be part of the conversation, the time is now. But let it be known to us that none of us is safe from this COVID-19. We can only pray. While we pray, we will hope for the best to happen. We hope for the best to happen to us in order to understand what is happening. This is extraordinary times in Nigeria, honestly. The whole world actually is not in Nigeria. This is an extraordinary time. Things are happening and things are moving too fast. Suddenly, America in death toll has surpassed China. The number of people dead in America. Ben Bruce, that is the former senator from what's it called, Bayelsa, who said he is um, who lost his wife, and he's gone to bury the wife. Is an American, and buried the wife. Said he wants to. He tweeted that he's missing Nigeria. He wants to come back, but suddenly everyone is telling Ben Bruce stay there. Never would one month ago thought that you come here. Oh, yeah, man. I'm coming from the UK. I'm coming from London. I'm coming from China. Listen, go there and say I'm coming from China. Everybody will, even all your kinsmen will run away. Nobody will come near you. That is how quick the whole thing changes. How quick the whole thing changes. So once more, these are the number to call is on the screen. If you want to have your contribution, fine. If not, I'll just give a couple of minutes for some of you because this is that's only WhatsApp call for those of you who don't know. So you can save the number and call. If you do not, obviously you have to save the number before you call. So I'll wait for a couple of minutes. If for those of you who do not have the number saved, or if you don't want to call, then that's fine. We can call it today. But the whole point that I want to make today is that the treatment given to us by the Chinese people and the Chinese authorities is not acceptable. As blacks, at some point we must come together and find a way. We must find a way to help ourselves. We cannot continue in this way. We must find a way to help ourselves because it is about us. It is about our lives. It is everything and everything to do with us. Once more, this is MaaziEzeoke. I will be signing off and I will say, please wash your hands, follow all the instructions by the government, stay safe, observe the social distancing. I hope to see you some other day. MaaziEzeoke once more, signing out.